That's how you want it to be. That's how you want it to be. That's how you want it to be. To me, bitch. Hey, what? Are they fighting? What the? Oh my God! Don't put your hand in my face, bitch. Oh my God! Hey. Get her off. She's crazy. I told y'all. It's done.
Brace yourself, because Cynthia Bailey just dropped revelations about Porsha Williams that make every reality TV scandal look like child's play. Fans have been sipping the Kool-Aid, thinking they knew the polished, camera-ready star who smiled through reunions, interviews, and those oh-so-perfect staged meltdowns. But beneath that flawless exterior allegedly lurked a tangled web of secrets, betrayals, and double lives no one saw coming. Cynthia went all in. She exposed hidden lesbian flings, overlapping romances with high-profile men, and dangerous truths that Porsha supposedly spent years disguising as a self-discovery journey. Insiders claim it was nothing more than a carefully choreographed cover story to protect her fame, image, and clout. Every tear, every confession that fans cheered for? Allegedly pure theater. The claims dive far deeper than mere emotional betrayal. Whispers of serious health risks, undisclosed medical hazards, and overlapping partners are flying around. Stories that could shatter reputations and leave audiences gasping. And then, of course, the infamous African Prince saga, a supposedly staged scandal with a $15,000 payoff, designed to manipulate the public and polish Porsha's meticulously crafted image. When Cynthia unleashed these bombshells live, the studio went haywire. Porsha allegedly lost it completely. Screams, shouts, and chaos erupted like fireworks at a reality TV apocalypse. Buckle up, because what Cynthia Bailey just revealed about Porsha Williams isn't messy, it's downright apocalyptic. For years, fans thought they knew her. The polished redemption arc, the perfectly timed tears, the camera-ready vulnerability at every reunion. She smiled through the chaos, played the spotlight like a pro, and sold a story of personal growth. But according to Cynthia, that whole image was smoke and mirrors. What she exposed, far colder, far more calculated, and far more dangerous than anyone ever imagined. When Cynthia finally spoke, the very ground seemed to quake. Insiders say Porsha's public awakening wasn't about healing. It was staged theater, meticulously choreographed to protect her image, preserve her brand, and twist every storyline in her favor. Behind those rehearsed confessionals, she was allegedly running two lives in parallel. Hidden same-sex flings, overlapping affairs, and emotional wreckage left in her wake. Once praised names now appear tangled in years of secrecy and alleged betrayal, far deeper than fans ever suspected. And then comes the shocker. Hushed warnings, unspoken concerns, whispers of health risks linked to overlapping partners, secrets carried like ticking time bombs. Sources claim these weren't accidents, they were ignored. Meanwhile, audiences cheered her journey, applauded her tears, and defended her vulnerability, blissfully unaware that a far more alarming story was allegedly unfolding entirely out of sight. Topping it all off is the infamous African Prince saga, now being labeled straight-up manufactured theater. Cynthia Bailey claims a performer was allegedly handed $15,000 to sell a storyline, blurring the line between reality and performance until even insiders couldn't tell fact from fiction. What once looked like random scandals suddenly read like calculated strategy, a narrative allegedly bought, staged, and packaged for maximum impact. When these bombshells hit live, all restraint flew out the window. Porsha Williams reportedly lost it completely. Security rushed in, tempers flared, voices screamed, and the studio descended into utter chaos. The cameras didn't cut. Gossip instantly morphed into full-blown confrontation, raw, unfiltered, and impossible to contain. The spectacle exploded within minutes, and fans split right down the middle. Some hailed Cynthia as the fearless truth-teller everyone secretly suspected. Others called it a total ambush, claiming Porsha was thrown to the wolves for ratings. But insiders say the damage was done before anyone could blink. Long-rumored stories no longer felt hypothetical, they felt terrifyingly real. Every allegation stacked heavier: simultaneous relationships, emotional manipulation, hidden risks. What was once dismissed as tabloid fodder suddenly sounded disturbingly consistent. The whole self-discovery narrative? Allegedly just smoke and mirrors. Now, the so-called self-discovery arc reads like nothing more than misdirection, a smoke screen stitched together from curated posts, polished interviews, and perfectly timed breakdowns. Through all this chaos, Cynthia Bailey never flinched. Calm, precise, unshaken, she turned pandemonium into something almost clinical, even prosecutorial. Timelines snapped into place, names connected, patterns emerged. The staged scandals, overlapping relationships, and whispered dangers, all dragged into broad daylight at once. Fans immediately went full detective mode. Old reunions, casual laughs, side-eye glances. What once seemed playful now felt loaded. Innocent exchanges transformed into evidence. Every frame carried suspicion, exposing a reality far darker than the one viewers were sold. Once the studio settled, the weight of it all only deepened. Porsha Williams' image of redemption cracked beyond repair. Insiders allege that charm and image management had been masking years of hidden behavior, with consequences reaching far beyond betrayal, emotional trauma, real-world fallout, and shattered trust. The line between authenticity and performance evaporated entirely, turning fame itself into a cautionary tale. Now every move, every glance, every word matters. Every replay suddenly matters. Every clip hits differently. Alleged lies, alleged health hazards, alleged manipulation. Porsha Williams' carefully constructed reality TV persona is unraveling live on camera. Cynthia Bailey's revelations aren't just scandal, they're a reckoning, a public trial fueled by attention, outrage, and memory. And this is far from over. The tension hasn't even peaked, it's just getting started. The fallout will behind the scenes. Sources later revealed this eruption wasn't spontaneous, it had been quietly brewing for months. What fans dismissed as harmless tension or playful shade was allegedly something far darker, layers of manipulation, strategic alliances, and secrets whispered behind closed doors. According to Cynthia Bailey and multiple insiders, Porsha Williams spent years crafting a flawless public image while privately navigating a tangled web of overlapping relationships, covert encounters, and dangerous truths capable of destroying lives. And these claims weren't limited to romance. They allegedly included emotional leverage, health-related risks, and calculated moves designed to maintain control, relevance, and dominance at all costs. As Cynthia pressed on, the atmosphere shifted once more. Her accusations weren't vague, they were anchored in evidence. Old footage resurfaced. Messages, timestamps, and archived posts were scrutinized. Off-camera testimonies filled in the gaps, exposing a secret second life hidden from public view. Allegedly, relationships involving Todd Tucker, Future, and Simon Goedia weren't isolated incidents, but overlapping timelines, colliding with secret same-sex affairs that stoked confusion, jealousy, and betrayal. Fans who once cheered Porsha's vulnerability began to feel unsettled, reinterpreting every tear and confession they had ever believed. And then came the twist that changed everything. The so-called African Prince saga, once dismissed as ridiculous drama, suddenly looked like a carefully plotted strategy. Insiders say the reported $15,000 paid to a singer was just the tip of the iceberg. Every staged moment, every perfectly timed reveal allegedly fed into a larger operation, crafted to shape perception, elicit sympathy, and protect an illusion. What once seemed authentic now screamed scripted, leaving Porsha Williams' public image exposed as fragile and deliberately constructed. When the confrontation hit its peak, control completely evaporated. Porsha allegedly surged forward, driven by fear and fury, responding not to insult, but to exposure itself. Security rushed in as tensions turned physical. The cameras stayed rolling. Shouts and chaos filled the room. Movement blurred. What began as testimony exploded into raw, uncontrolled chaos, broadcast live in real time. Within minutes, footage went viral, replayed endlessly across social media, dissected frame by frame as shock morphed into obsession. Reactions split instantly. Some insisted Porsha had been cornered and ambushed mercilessly, while others hailed Cynthia Bailey for finally speaking the truths many suspected but feared to voice. Yet the scale of allegations, overlapping relationships, hidden risks, manufactured scandals, defied a simple narrative. Every clip, screenshot, and public response became evidence, slowly piecing together a picture far darker than the polished persona audiences once adored. The fallout didn't stop at the studio doors. It spilled far beyond. Producers scrambled, weighing legal risks against ratings. Executives debated edits, terrified of lawsuits, backlash, and advertiser fallout. But the audience didn't pause. Fans turned into full-blown investigators, building timelines, matching dates, connecting patterns, and speculating just how deep the deception ran. Sources say the consequences went far beyond headlines. Emotional fallout, broken trust, and relentless scrutiny collided into something inescapable. Every alleged affair, every hidden risk, every curated lie now carried real weight. Porsha Williams' carefully crafted narrative of growth and healing crumbled under its own contradictions, leaving every future appearance shadowed by doubt. Cynthia Bailey's position became undeniable. By refusing to soften her claims or back down, she transformed gossip into something prosecutorial. What started as rumor evolved into a public reckoning, a viral tribunal where accountability finally demanded its due. Allegedly, even longtime cast members were stunned, realizing long-ignored patterns had been exposed all at once, and the public couldn't look away. Every repost, reaction, and statement became another thread pulled from a tightly wound secret life. Allegations stacked, forming a story too disturbing to dismiss and too gripping to ignore. This was no longer just reality TV. It became a cultural moment, a warning about image, ambition, and the peril of living two lives at once. When the dust finally began to settle, one truth remained. This wasn't merely scandal. It was a collision of persona and reality, control and consequence. Porsha's fall, Cynthia's resolve, and the audience's fixation fused into a spectacle that wouldn't quietly disappear. And if this was only the beginning, the aftermath promised devastation on another level. The eruption inside the studio didn't calm once security escorted Porsha Williams out. It exploded further within minutes. Chaos spilled everywhere, flooding timelines, forums, group chats, and breaking news banners. Clips looped endlessly. Screenshots were frozen, zoomed, and shared nonstop. Anonymous tips surfaced by the hour. What had once been edited, polished reality TV suddenly felt alive and utterly uncontrollable. A public unraveling fueled by betrayal, secrecy, and visible emotional collapse. Allegedly, Porsha's entire image came under the microscope, with past interviews, reunion moments, and tearful confessions scrutinized for cracks, contradictions, and signs of calculated performance. Behind the scenes, the damage cut even deeper. Sources say cast members were stunned, torn between loyalty and fear, unsure who might be dragged into the fallout next. Producers scrambled too. Each corroborated detail, controversy escalated into full-blown crisis. Reality TV implosion no edit could soften. Fans showed zero mercy. Old reunions were replayed frame by frame. Social posts were recaptioned. Past statements stripped of context were reinterpreted as clues. Allegedly playful or scripted moments now appeared calculated, risky, and ethically murky. The fallout forced viewers to question not just Porsha's image, but Cynthia Bailey's role and the production machine that enabled the performance for years. At the eye of the storm, Porsha's reaction stood central. Allegedly, her outburst wasn't random. It was the breaking point of years spent juggling a fractured double life. Insider reports and security logs suggested the chaos was inevitable. The confrontation almost crossed a line no one could recover from, exposing the harsh human cost of fame built on secrecy and relentless pressure. Meanwhile, Cynthia Bailey only grew more central. Her calm, consistent, and unyielding demeanor turned the spectacle into something almost judicial. Viewers weren't just watching, they were judging. Each allegation was dissected. Every timeline debated. The audience became a vocal, divided jury. Allegedly, even longtime friends and insiders had to reassess years of behavior, spotting patterns once dismissed as harmless that now seemed deliberate. The media frenzy fed itself. Headlines multiplied. Algorithms pushed the footage everywhere. Fan theories exploded into hundreds of variations of the same story. What began as celebrity gossip morphed into a cultural moment about power, secrecy, and consequence. Allegedly, the mix of emotional exposure, health risks, and orchestrated narratives revealed something far darker. Reality television wasn't merely reflecting behavior, it was actively protecting it. As days passed, timelines were meticulously reconstructed. Dates cross-checked, statements contradicted, relationships mapped across charts shared online. Every new discovery reinforced the same truth. The public persona had been carefully curated, while private reality remained unstable, hidden, and dangerous. The fallout extended offline as well. Allegedly fractured friendships, ruined careers, and reputations that may never fully recover. The cultural impact of the scandal became undeniable. Fans debated ethics, accountability, and who could be trusted while the story continued to unfold. Media outlets chronicled every twist and turn. Allegedly, any attempt at redemption or explanation was buried beneath the sheer scale of exposure and the intensity of the reveal. Cynthia Bailey's claims didn't just target one person, they rattled the entire system that prioritized image over truth. By the end, this was no longer gossip. It had evolved into a cautionary tale about fame, secrecy, and the high cost of living two lives at once. The confrontation, the revelations, and the fallout fused into a living tragedy that refused to settle. Every clip now mattered. Every word carried consequence, and the echo of this unraveling would linger long after the cameras cut. The aftermath showed no signs of slowing. What Cynthia Bailey unleashed left Porsha Williams standing amid the wreckage of her own image. Every polished moment fractured, every practiced smile now met with suspicion. Allegations, intersecting relationships, alleged health risks, and supposedly staged scandals converged into a spectacle far too volatile to ignore. Fans looped old footage, rewatched reunions, and re-examined every moment with fresh eyes. Social media transformed into a tribunal, with a verdict that seemed perpetually unfinished. Every post, reply, and viral thread weighed truth against strategy, accountability against survival. The on-camera intensity, physical tension, emotional collapse, and chaos stripped gossip of its distance, making it painfully real. Security logs, insider accounts, and anonymous disclosures continued to surface, revealing a reality few were prepared to face. Allegedly buried truths were dragged into the light, exposing not only deception but the psychological toll of fame, secrecy, and relentless visibility. Porsha's reactions, Cynthia's resolve, and the network scramble all became part of the story. The scramble has now coalesced into a single, volatile narrative that refuses to leave the spotlight. This is far beyond your standard scandal. It's a cultural reckoning, a case study in power, loyalty, and the fallout of living two lives at once. Allegedly constructed storylines, emotional manipulation, and hidden truths have turned reality television into a full-blown public courtroom. Every viewer is now implicated. Every fan has become a witness to a breakdown playing out with no filters, no safety nets. There's no looking away. The story keeps evolving. New details emerge. Old moments are revisited with fresh, sometimes shocking meaning. The fallout spreads relentlessly, leaving behind confusion, grief, and disbelief. Pay attention. Question motives. Take a stand.
Talk about it.
Analyze it. Because this isn't just entertainment anymore. It's a viral rupture that could permanently reshape how reality TV is watched, consumed, and believed. Each corroborated detail, controversy escalated into full-blown crisis. Reality TV implosion no edit could soften. Fans showed zero mercy. Old reunions were replayed frame by frame. Social posts were recaptioned. Past statements stripped of context were reinterpreted as clues. Allegedly playful or scripted moments now appeared calculated, risky, and ethically murky. The fallout forced viewers to question not just Porsha's image, but Cynthia Bailey's role and the production machine that enabled the performance for years. At the eye of the storm, Porsha's reaction stood central. Allegedly, her outburst wasn't random. It was the breaking point of years spent juggling a fractured double life. Insider reports and security logs suggested the chaos was inevitable. The confrontation almost crossed a line no one could recover from, exposing the harsh human cost of fame built on secrecy and relentless pressure. Meanwhile, Cynthia Bailey only grew more central. Her calm, consistent, and unyielding demeanor turned the spectacle into something almost judicial. Viewers weren't just watching, they were judging. Each allegation was dissected. Every timeline debated. The audience became a vocal, divided jury. Allegedly, even longtime friends and insiders had to reassess years of behavior, spotting patterns once dismissed as harmless that now seemed deliberate. The media frenzy fed itself. Headlines multiplied. Algorithms pushed the footage everywhere. Fan theories exploded into hundreds of variations of the same story. What began as celebrity gossip morphed into a cultural moment about power, secrecy, and consequence. Allegedly, the mix of emotional exposure, health risks, and orchestrated narratives revealed something far darker. Reality television wasn't merely reflecting behavior, it was actively protecting it. As days passed, timelines were meticulously reconstructed. Dates cross-checked, statements contradicted, relationships mapped across charts shared online. Every new discovery reinforced the same truth. The public persona had been carefully curated, while private reality remained unstable, hidden, and dangerous. The fallout extended offline as well. Allegedly fractured friendships, ruined careers, and reputations that may never fully recover. The cultural impact of the scandal became undeniable. Fans debated ethics, accountability, and who could